Yeah, oh no. What's that? Oh yeah, strawberries. So that's a greenhouse where they grow strawberries. Yeah, it's like a strawberry house, you're right. Alright, so me and Lily are going for a little walk. We're going to walk to Higashira Park. Really? This is an experiment. I'm trying putting the camera on the stroller. If you don't know, a lot of these live streams I've been doing recently are kind of experiments, trying to figure out times, best places, best setups, best settings, I guess, for doing live streams. When the cherry blossoms really start to bloom, I'm planning to do I'm planning to do quite a few live streams then. There's your strawberries, Lil. So Tochigi, the prefecture I live in Japan, is known for strawberry production. And actually, even the city I live in is, Strawberry House, is known for producing lots of strawberries. We can call it a greenhouse. Yes. Yep. Bum, bum, bum. Yep, here we go. So it's just gonna be probably, I'm not gonna live stream the whole thing, but it's probably about an hour walk to the park we're going to. So we'll walk an hour, let Lily fish in the hay pond there with the other kids. Probably it's a Thursday, so there probably won't be a ton of kids. Let her fish in the pond, maybe for an hour or so, however long, and then get back. I do have work at 4 p.m. local time, so I do have to worry about that. You know, get back, take a bath, give her a bath. Probably have to bring her to school today. Whee! I know, quite a turn, huh? Mm-hmm. Really? That is quite a house, you're right. Mm-hmm. All right, let's take another turn. Whee! So that, I'll show you real quick. That building way over there, the big one, that's actually where my daughter was born. So that's actually a big hospital not far from our house. The biggest hospital in the area, Haga, right across. It sort of serves this whole district, the Haga district, which is where we live. So yeah, it's a big hospital. A lot of your classmates were also born in there, Lil. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. You can go to sleep. I'll wake you when we get there. Don't worry. Papa will wake you when it's time to fish. Oh, cannot wait for bamboo sprouts. So out of like the foods you can forage, bamboo sprouts is probably one of my favorites. Yeah. It's a little late. We kind of just finished on the nanahana. I enjoy nanahana. Lily doesn't. Neither does my wife. I seem to be the only one that likes nanahana, so I usually end up eating most of it. Oh, that's right, they're doing work on this road. It's going to get rough for a moment. I know. The Haga drift. crow. Lots of crows. Constant. Some parts of Japan are trying to, some parts of Japan actually have a bounty on crows because there's so many of them. So people will actually make money hunting crows. Motegi, the next city kind of northeast of me, they had a bounty, I don't know if they still do, they had a bounty on wild boar at one point. They have a lot of wild boar over in Mashiko. It's kind of ridiculous. So like some of my colleagues were talking about how they'll have like wild boar running through their yard, stuff like that. But here we don't have as many wild boar. Over there, it's just there's way too many of them. Here, I wouldn't be surprised if we had too many crows. All right, we're gonna continue along past these farm fields. So this is kind of a common geography on the Kanto plain, where you'll have these very wide flat areas, and then they're broken up, like you can see on the right, by a ridge of some type. So it's almost, I don't know, wrinkly? The ridges are not that big, but they do sort of, historically and even today, they sort of serve as a little bit of a boundary zone marker between what were traditionally different areas. You also have to remember that the modern city system here in Japan basically came about by combining towns and villages and small cities until we have the current cities that we have. And I'm sure there are still cities being merged today. So, for example, I live in a place called Aramachi. Aramachi used to be its own separate thing. It was next to the castle. It was not as developed as the rest of Mocha. Gosh, that's the wrong word. It wasn't that it was not as developed. It wasn't as industrial or commercial, because this was where a lot of, back in the Edo period, a lot of people who were involved in administration were involved. Some members of the samurai caste who worked for the local lord. So for that reason, it's a little more open. There was more space. There wasn't a history of commercial business there. And you look, even today, there's not as many businesses as other parts of Mocha, but it's nice. It's pretty wide and open. A lot of that was turned into, apartments and housing and stuff. Sort of the shifting fate of those places. Whee! Yeah. Whee! Oh, the trail's closed. There was a little walking trail, I've taken it a few times, that goes right there. Kind of passes behind these houses. It's a little freaky, to be totally honest. It's a little strange as you're like walking along. It's like, I'm in this person's backyard. I was just on foot and didn't feel so weird about passing it through. I might just go on it. Yeah. So this walk, we're not going to hit a bunch of historical places like sometimes. This is more of a, hey, we're going to this place. We're going to walk it anyways. Let's do a live stream, show people kind of a more rural agricultural side to Japan. Look at that, you can clearly go through there. But Japan very much has a right to roam concept. They don't call it that, but similar to, some countries in Europe. There's very much a idea is like, yeah, you can be there as long as there's no sign saying you can't be there. And the more rural you get, the stronger this is. There's lots of places. Sometimes when I'm out hiking, we hike these trails, I'll run into people, and I know the mountain's technically private property. Somebody owns it. A lot of times, not all the time, and you'll run into like places where people camp out there, or people camping and using it pretty openly. So yeah, I think there's a pretty strong, kind of right to roam concept in Japan. But I'm also not sure if that's more of a, living in Kanto, or if that's more of a Japan overall thing. Because you run into parts of the United States that they don't officially have that policy, and Canada too, they don't officially have that policy, but people don't really care. Although that might have changed. I haven't lived in the United States for a long time now. I think the United States, kind of the more west you get, the less you see kind of a right to roam system or policy. But yeah, I haven't lived in the United States for over a decade now. What do I know? That's actually kind of one of the weirdness of being from somewhere and not living there, is there's kind of this expectation of you went to junior and senior high school in America, you are an expert in America. And sometimes it's look, I haven't lived there in a long time now. Every time I go back, I'm like, there's a lot of stuff I know or knew that's now outdated. Put it that way. Or, that's not what we care about anymore. Or that's no longer a concern. So that can always be kind of weird. You go back to the United States, you're just I don't know what these people are talking about. I don't understand what the big deal is. Why do we care so much about this? Or why have we stopped caring about this? Alright, so I like the idea of putting it on the stroller. I think that was a brilliant idea on my part, or at least a brilliant thing to try. That one dumps you in somebody's backyard. That was kind of freaky. Yeah, it's kind of weird, especially because I've been working in school, and the cross-cultural part, there's sort of this expectation of you're from the United States, you know what's going on. It's I don't know if I know that much anymore. I kind of had that shock. It was the first time, I don't know, not last year. It was the first time I went back to the United States in a very, very long time. 3 years? 4 years? 4 years, I think. Yeah. And, that's a long time. How much things changed. So for example, I went back to the town that I went to junior and senior high school in. And there was a lot of stuff, it's the same town. But, so much is different. So much changes in that amount of time. 4 years is, when you actually think about it, as far as things closing, things opening, things changing, that's a long time. And then last year when I went back to Hualien, I'd spent a good chunk of my adult life living in Hualien. And, it was weird how much different it was after being gone for just a few years. So many things were closed, lots of businesses that I knew were gone. I still was able to meet a lot of people that I knew, but even then we're like, oh yeah, that's changed, oh yeah, it's not the same. That's a hard conversation to have sometimes, where you're like, oh, well, it's not what I remember. I miss the good old days. I miss the nostalgia. I was staying like maybe around 45, 50. Maybe. Usually 40 might be fun. But kind of when, especially when Lily's a little bit older, is I'd love to do a year where we go back and we basically go everywhere that I and my wife used to live. And just go around, and I think it'd be fun to show Lily, like, hey, this is, you know, the town I went to senior high school in. This is where I went to university. This is where, you know, I lived for my first 2 years outside of university before I went to Taiwan. This was my first home city in Taiwan. I was only there for a year. Not because I didn't like the city, but because of my job and problems with them. And then that was before. So my first job in Taiwan, I hadn't quite learned how to play office and school politics yet. That was really my problem. I hadn't figured out, you know, went over friends and influence, make friends and influence. I hadn't quite figured that out. You know, in hindsight, I look back and I'm like, yep, a lot of times I just should have kept my mouth shut, should have said things differently, which is too bad. You know, I was kind of young and dumb. Well, young and abrasive. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Lily's a teenager, and then, you know, bring it back. This is where your mom grew up. You know, here's your grandparents, aunts and uncles, go visit them. I'm sure we'll go back there a few times, but, and then, you know, here's when we lived in Japan, here's when we did this. I think it would be I don't know, a good experience. And also I'd be interested in, like, hey, what does this place actually look like? Because, you know, a lot can change in 5 years. I think my wife would have no interest in that type of trip. She's not a, I don't know. Well, I think she didn't really like where she lived in Taiwan. I liked Hualien. I don't think my wife liked it as much. And so I don't think she ever, like, I don't know, ever picked up a fondness for the place like I did. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, I got a job. Oh my God, it's sending me out here. Okay, I guess I'm going to, like, Hualien. I'm pretty sure Hualien would have been, like, one of my wife's last picks if she was listing places. Like, oh, you know, what county in Taiwan do you want to work in? Her last picks would probably be Taidong, Hualien, Nato. And I don't know, if I was going back to Taiwan, those would probably be my 3 top picks. Nanto, Hualien, Taidong. So, you know, personality difference. Well, it's just even like this city here. Oh, those are pretty. Look at those blossoms. You know, Lele, I don't bring you out to this area of the city very much. Well, technically in the city, just because of how it works. I don't bring you out to this part of Mocha very much. It's interesting because I've seen quite a few playgrounds, but they all look pretty abandoned and destitute. Where, you know, the area we live in, Aramachi, you know, there's lots of playgrounds and parks and stuff, and they're in pretty good condition. They're even building a new one by the train station. I kind of wonder if, population, this place is probably peaked, and now it's going gray, so to say. Population's down. It's a common problem in Japanese cities, particularly rural, or not as big ones like this, where, you know, there's, you know, the population is aging, there's more job opportunities in larger cities, and so people, particularly young people, are more likely to move away. So then you have a negative population growth, and it kind of spirals. It's the same in a lot of these small Japanese cities. So, we have, last time I checked in this city, we have negative population growth. The population's falling. And a lot of the cities around here, it's the same problem. Negative population growth, population's falling, less kids are being born. That's just a Japan-wide phenomenon. And with less kids being born, the problem is that it becomes more difficult to justify maintaining services, right? Well, how many elementary schools do we really need, especially if the population's going down? You go out to Motegi, north of here. Maybe you can see it. So there's a little mountain there. Other side of it's Motegi. So if you go to Motegi, other side of the mountain there, you have very stark population decrease, especially in the outer parts of the municipality. You got to remember, municipalities in Japan, these cities are kind of sprawling Frankensteins to some regard, where they just kept combining villages. So particularly if you're not in Motegi proper, central Motegi, there's population decrease. You go around there, you'll see houses that are abandoned. You go online and, oh, careful, you lost your hat. If you go online and look in some of these places, you can find houses for very cheap. Japan's real estate market's weird. What do you think, Lilo? Yeah? Alright. We're getting closer. We're probably a third of the way to Igashira. So that's our goal today. We're going to walk to Igashira. There's a pet pond there for kids. Let Lily, try to catch something. We went last week and she loved it. I catch fish. I catch fish. So we're gonna go catch fish, which should be good for her. Yeah? You excited? Yeah. So we're walking along part of the Kanto Plain. So basically this is a flat area that's been carved out by rivers, what's now the Gogyo-gawa. And like a lot of the Kanto Plain, there are these ridges that basically separate different parts of it. So there's kind of a ridge between each river. So if I go to the right ways, I'm going to hit the Gogyo-gawa. If I go to the left and cross over the ridge and keep going, I'm going to hit the Kinagawa. They are actually both in the same fisheries association, so I can fish both of them with my Kinagawa license. Actually, most of the Kinagawa and most of the rivers in the Haga district are all under the same license, with the exception of the Nakagawa, which is kind of in the northern end of Haga district, up in Motegi. It's a pretty big river. They have their own licensing system, which makes sense because they just they're too much. They're kind of too big, kind of too popular. Hey Stanley, how are you doing? Just see you now. We are going for a little walk to the park. I'm breaking in my new shoes. I'm trying strapping the camera to the stroller. Also, I'm still experimenting with what time to do live streams, because I want to do quite a few when the cherry blossoms are out, because I'll be out of work. I'll have Lily still, because her school won't start until April 12th, the opening ceremony. She'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. All right, we're gonna go left. Whee! Like we're drifting around the corners. Yes, you can see. Actually, it's probably a better view of it. You see that all those trees and stuff, they're actually on a ridge. So this is the ridge that separates alluvial plains, the two alluvial plains. So Igashira, the park we're going to, is actually built on the ridge, which is also why it has horrible cell phone reception. A lot of times you get on these ridges and your phone just stops working, which can be a little annoying. Especially if it's, they have these, some of them, they're kind of like a ridge that's like this, so they have up from the alluvial plain, and then like a dip, back up, and then onto the next alluvial plain. A lot of times, if you're inside that dip, good luck getting your cell phone to work. The Igashira dip is particularly bad about that. So that, I believe, if I remember correctly, historically was caused by some runoff between the two ridges. It sort of dug into the ridge, eroded it out, and made this little, this is like mini valley inside the ridge. Let's take a look at this. So this wall is actually stone. So this stone is actually a very good insulator, so it's used a lot in storage houses. And because it's porous, it's actually light. So in this area, they used to mine the stone in a place called Lueta, which is now part of Utsunomiya. So there's actually a museum to it in Utsunomiya. So they would mine this stone out, and it was used in a lot of construction around this area, around Utsunomiya. And actually, you can go inside the caves now. Some of you have probably heard this story. We went in there one time. It was the middle of summer. It was super hot. And because you're underground, and quite a bit underground, it's actually quite cool inside there. It kind of stays the same cool temperature all year round. So it was summer. Lots of people are like sweating and hot. And then they would get into the cave, and then people would be shivering and freezing because they just weren't ready for the temperature change. My wife found the place unpleasant for that reason. But if you want a place that's cool in the summer, it's a great place to go. Warm in the winter. Stays pretty much the same temperature. And a lot of it is actually used for storage. It kind of acts as a natural refrigerator. If you go to some places to the north of me, along the Nakagawa, the Naka River, they have the same thing. They have these natural caves there, and they would use them as storage, refrigeration, basically, to keep things cool during the summer or warm during the winter. So you can go, and there's actually a tasting room for a brewery for sake. So you can go in to this cave and basically drink sake, which is kind of fun. One of those things, like, I'd like to do it, but it's a long trip. It's up past Ose, and there isn't really any good public transportation there, so I'd probably end up bicycling through Mashiko, up through Ose, and then out to the caves. Alright, the one problem with attaching it to the stroller is it keeps moving. Alright. Morita stone. You'll see it everywhere here. I don't think they mine it anymore. So I don't think you can get new Morita if you wanted to. It's a pretty massive facility. I should go back there sometime. Kind of fun. It's not that far, but there's a lot of things where I'm like, it's not that far a bicycle ride, but at the same time, kind of like, well, I would have to get up, go, do whatever I want there, come back, and so it can become a day trip by the end of it. Okay, no problem. I hope you're enjoying dinner. Was it something you caught? Well, you're not going to answer that, but I hope it was something you caught, and I hope it's delicious. Yeah? What do you think, Lo? Yellow? Oh, tractor. You're right. It's a tractor. We've been learning our like vehicles and equipment and stuff. Hey, look, Lily. You see the yellow flower? Yeah, it's nanahana. Remember, we ate some? Yeah. You want to eat it? You didn't eat it last time. Here, I'll grab you a piece, okay? Let's find you a good one. I'll strip the leaves for you. So you, the ones that haven't blossomed yet, and you can eat them. They're a little spicy. I like them. My daughter usually will eat one or two of them. Yummy. There we go. Nanahana. So you can eat them raw. You can mix them with other vegetables in like a salad. And that's another popular way of having them. Or people will boil it. Add it to miso soup. That's how I like it the best. Boil the nanahana a little bit. Throw it into my miso soup. And then other people will steam it, maybe with garlic, other vegetables. Steam it up. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to serve it. You can serve it over rice. You can serve it with like a pork dish. Actually goes very well with a pork dish. Oh. These are like one of the only major roads you cross going this way. And it's always annoying. Alright, after the Honda. Yeah, we'll go quickly before the K truck. That's not a K truck, that's too big. Pop along. Papa. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a very traditional looking house. It's not, it's actually no, the roof is new. Yeah, it's a new roof. Sometimes, like, you see something and you're like, oh, I'd really love to talk about this in chat. A, there's no one watching, but B, you're kind of like, I don't need to point the camera at somebody's house right now. Especially not when they're in their yard. That's just weird. That's how cities end up with ordinances against lives. Yeah, there was quite a few roofs also. I think I remember here, I guess. There were quite a few roofs in the 3/11 earthquake. Yeah. Was that 11 years ago now? Oh man, I'm old. I know. Yeah. You okay? Ouch. You want me to cover you more? Too much sun? Yeah, it's okay. There you go. Try to keep you a little shaded. Yeah, so one of the things too is a lot of roofs are actually new, particularly that were used to be the tile, the traditional tile style. A lot of them got replaced by what you can see up on the right here, which is kind of this metal roof that looks like tile. And the reason for this is that a lot of these tile roofs got badly damaged 11 years ago in the 3/11 earthquake. I think it was 11 years ago now, wow. So this area didn't get hit absolutely the hardest down north. But it still was hard enough that a lot of roofs were damaged, and particularly those traditional tile roofs. And the problem is there is not that many craftsmen who do those types of tile roofs anymore. So those guys, well, they all were very, very, very booked up after the earthquake. And so a lot of people ended up installing these metal roofs that look similar. So you'll see those around here a lot. You don't see as many of the old traditional style tile roofs anymore in this part of Japan because so many of them were destroyed. There's a lot of those traditional crafts in Japan where there just isn't that many people who do it anymore. Part of it is the training is very, very long. Some of those crafts also, you basically don't get paid the first 5 years. So here you are, you got to spend probably at least 5 years of your life learning the trade. A lot of times you're an apprentice without pay, and so that's not something a lot of people can do. And even harder if it's like a career change. So there is some concern in Japan with how apprentice systems work, that these industries and crafts are in danger because it's really hard to convince someone to be like, hey, I want you to come work for me for 5 years. You're going to learn some really cool stuff, but yeah, we don't pay you. Certain industries are getting better about that. Certain traditional crafts are getting better about that. But, you know, still. And that's the thing, is I live next to Mashiko, which is actually very big on pottery. They don't have as much an issue because they get quite a few very well-off, wealthy people that come in, people looking for a career change. It also props up the real estate market there, so Mashiko is a much stronger real estate market than here in Noka. And, you know, Mashiko's a place people want to live. There's an author-photographer that I follow, who writes books about Japanese culture. She's published by Turtle Press, if you know them. So she does a lot of work, particularly on craft culture and artistry in Japan. And, you know, she sometimes boasts about, oh, I'd love to find a place to live in Mashiko. And it's kind of like, okay, that's part of why, it's part of why Mashiko is attractive, is that you get more and more of those types of people who are involved in culture, documentation of culture, consumption of culture, or production of culture. Look at all those crows, Will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 crows. It's a dozen. It's a murder. It's a murder of crows. Lily might have been like, I'm taking a nap. Tell me when we get to the park. No, she's still awake. We'll be there soon. We're just going to keep going, Lil, okay? Really? We'll stick close to the ridge, okay? Okay. Okay. Good girl. I have to keep resetting the camera on here. That's better. Hopefully that'll stick. Here's the plan, Lil, when we get there. You're going to catch all the fish, and I want to drink all the coffee. Does that sound good? You're like 9:30 here, so they literally just opened up the park. I'm pretty sure they opened the fishing at 9:30. Granted, it's a Thursday, so I'm not expecting it to be super crowded. If you go to this park on like a school holiday, it gets a little ridiculous as far as like, if you want to actually look at the pond, you're like, oh my god, the kids are shoulder to shoulder. helicopter. I'm not sure what model that one is. So north of here is a shrine where the Army gets their helicopters blessed. That is really thin profile. I'm pretty sure it's an Army helicopter. Yeah, helicopter. Yeah, so the shrine has a helicopter pad for landing helicopters. And that's where they land the helicopters when they bring them there to be blessed. So the Japanese military, every so often, you'll see them fly helicopters there and land them at the shrine to get blessed. It's actually a kind of really interesting thing. I don't know the exact schedule of when they do it because I've always thought it'd be cool to go there when they do that. I'm not sure they make the schedule public kind of deal. Like, I feel like it's one of those things you just have to be there at the right time. Because every so often you'll see pictures from the shrine of like, oh, they've landed a helicopter and they're getting it blessed. It's like, they didn't make an announcement or tell people they were doing that. I feel like they just kind of, yeah, yes. Turn around. So here we can see these big greenhouses are used for strawberries. So they grow the strawberries here. Yeah, it's a strawberry house. My daughter calls it a strawberry house. Makes sense. You know, kid logic. No, strawberry house. You're right. Pump. It is strawberry season. It's kind of near the height of that, or yeah, it's almost the height of that. So you'll see lots of strawberry flavored stuff. The price of strawberries has come down. A lot of food prices, particularly fruit, is very, very seasonal in Japan. So, you know, when it's the right season, strawberries are pretty cheap. When it's the right season, blueberries are cheap. When it's the right season, apples are cheap. When it's the right season, pears are cheap. So, you know, you sometimes are like, oh man, I really want strawberries, but they're so expensive right now. But, I guess it is kind of nice. It's nice when what you want is cheap. But that was also one of those things when we went to Canada where we had fun. She just ate so much fruit. She's like, oh, grapes. Grapes are so cheap. Oh, blueberries. Blueberries are so cheap. So that was nice. That was probably her favorite part of the trip to Canada. Was like, oh my god, so much fruit. It's so cheap. What do you got, Lil? Anything interesting? Yeah. Really now. It's okay, dog. You know, dog. 1-1. Woof woof. Yeah. He's talking to us. It's a dog. Yeah, it's talking. At least at 2, they're cute. They say the most ridiculous stuff, but they're cute about it, at least. Yeah. Is that what you think, Lil Hell? boink, boink. Weird because it's like the weather's been strange. I blame global weirding for that. So we'll have days like this where it's like, oh, it feels really nice. It feels like spring. And then we'll have another day. It's like, oh my god, it feels like it's June. And then it'll snow. Like it snowed last week. In the morning. I wasn't asleep for that. I missed it. Otherwise, I probably would have done a walking in the snow live stream. There's another helicopter. Maybe that's the same one coming back. I think there's a base. I don't know where the nearest base is. I know there's a base over the mountains in Eberrock. Maybe it's coming from there. There's some Chiba. I feel like there is a base in Tochigi Prefecture, but I don't know. I almost feel like, yeah, hard to tell. Yeah. I don't know why she likes doing that. Once we kind of start going up the ridge, my cell phone reception is pretty bad. So probably next June at that point. Maybe a little before. Not quite sure yet. What do you think, Will? I don't really care. I'm just along for the ride. Fair play, Lil. Fair play. There's an older house. Look at that. That's kind of exactly what I was talking about. You can see it's older construction, woodwork, traditional vibe, roof, and that is modern. It's not traditional. It's made to kind of look more traditional. And a big part of that was just, so much of the traditional roofs were damaged so badly by the earthquake. And, it was such a big and it affected so much of the country. It damaged so many roofs that it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, there's no way the small number of craftsmen are fixing them all anytime soon. So those metal ones came in, and I think, yeah, that was an ambulance, you're right. Yeah, it is an ambulance. Very good. All right. I'm not sure, how fast I'm going to use this section, or if I am at all at this part of the hill. But somewhere up here, and I'm not sure how close to the park it is basically a cell phone dead zone. So when I hit the cell phone dead zone, I'm just going to end the live stream. Or the entrance to the park, whichever one comes first. Today is nice and clear, so I kind of think reception will be a little better. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So far, so good. Oh, I think this is, if I go to the hill later, I think that one is worse as far as like how quickly you lose reception. Almost time for new bamboo sprouts. I can't wait. Probably one of my favorite foods you can forage. All right, uphill we go. Get up on top of the ridge. Give you a view. So you probably can't see it very well, but basically right there, yeah, right around there is the next ridge, and so that separates the Gogyogawa from the which one is that? Not the Nakagawa. The Nakagawa is 2 rivers over. Can't remember its name. But basically you have a series of those ridges that separate each of the rivers and their alluvial plain. Nowadays we control the rivers much better than we used to. Historically, particularly the Kinagawa, had a history of flooding and being extremely destructive. Part of this is the source. So the source of the Kinagawa is up in the mountains in what is now Nikko National Park. And this area was prone to landslides. So one thing that happened occasionally was there would be a landslide and it would, partially cut off the water, act as like a dam, or even in one case completely cut off the water. And that's all good, and that might last for a while until it breaks and floods, and now you're in a world of pain. And so, they'd have these massive floods, and it would kill a lot of people, and they were quite tragic. And so that's where the Kinagawa got a very, very negative reputation of being a dangerous river, demon rage river. And so also for that reason, there was lots of effort put into controlling the Kinagawa, making it safer, putting in controls, water controls, dams, dike systems. And even you look at it now, when we have bad flooding, generally the Kinagawa doesn't give us a problem because it's so regulated. It's so controlled compared to most rivers. And then it's the Gogyogawa now that gives us problems. But I can also see it might be easier to pitch, hey, we need money for flood control. Oh, what river? Oh, the angry demon river. Oh, yeah. Here's some money. Go control the angry demon river. All right, we are almost there. Huh. Yeah, I'm surprised how long I have reception. Usually, somewhere around here, I would lose reception. Huh. interesting. Don't worry, Lil, we're almost there. You okay? Yeah? Alright, we're getting closer to Igashira Park. So we're basically gonna walk kind of past that big power tower right there. Right there, we're gonna walk past there. We're gonna take a left. We're gonna go downhill a little bit to get to Igashira Park. The fishing ponds are near the bottom of the park, and it's in a pretty tight little valley, so cell phones don't work so well down there. Actually, honestly, a lot of Igashira Park cell phones don't work so well. So the park itself is in a V-shaped valley cut into the ridge. So the ridge we're standing on right now is the ridge that separates the alluvial plains of the Kinagawa and the Gogyogawa River. Well, inside this ridge, there is a stream, basically. It's been dammed up in a few places. This stream kind of originated near here at Igashira and basically eroded a V, basically a notch, into the valley. Into the ridge. So it's created a valley inside the ridge. And it's quite steep. It's tight. Not really conductive to cell phones working very well inside. I tried to do a live stream in Igashira a few weeks ago to show off the plum blossoms. Basically did not work very well reception-wise. Kept crashing. So I ended up just doing a very, very short one just in the plum garden. What do you think, Lil? Lily's absolutely entranced with the ground. Loves it. We are almost at the hour mark, so it's almost 9:30. Almost 10. So that'd be, there's 10 here, that'd be 9 o'clock Eastern time in the US, and 8 o'clock Central time, I think. I'll be honest, daylight savings and these changes keep confusing me because I'm used to subtracting different numbers. Alright. We're actually getting close to the cell phone dead zone, so I'm actually going to call it quits on the live stream. Everyone who's watching, thank you for watching. Everybody who watches later, thank you for watching. Please hit that like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff that helps us grow as YouTubers and makes us feel good about ourselves. All right, everyone. I will see you on our next adventure.